Dear students, this video is about exceptions to the rule of consideration. In this video, you will get exceptions information regarding the rule of consideration. In previous topics, I have explained in detail consideration is one of the essential of a valid contract. Agreement without consideration is void. So you can see on your screen a flow. Offer after acceptance change into promise, and promise when attached with consideration it becomes agreement, and when we attach enforceability, or you can say law recognizability, with agreement, agreement change into contract. So students, here are exceptions to the consideration. Let me speak here the rule of consideration. The rule of consideration is no consideration, no agreement, and no contract. But here are certain exceptions to the consideration. These exceptions are on your screen. Agreement on account of natural love and affection, agreement to compensate for past voluntary services, agreement to pay a time-barred debt, agreement to give something as gift, agreement to act as agent, agreement to remit by the promisee. So detail you will get in the coming sheets, but all these agreements are without consideration, and without consideration all these agreements are enforceable by law. Now students, you can see on your screen the first exception to the consideration, which is agreement on account of natural love and affection, according to section 25 of the Contract Act 1872. Now, a contract without consideration shall be enforceable if following conditions are satisfied. Now, once again, agreement which is based on account of natural love and affection will be enforceable even without consideration if following conditions are fulfilled. Number one, the contract if is in writing, the contract if registered, the contract is made on account of natural love and affection, there must be near relation between the parties. So students, if these conditions are fulfilled with that specific agreement which is based on account of natural love and affection is enforceable even without consideration. Here is example. A, on account of natural love and affection, promises to give his son B rupees 1 lakh. A puts it in writing and gets it registered. B can enforce it even without the consideration. The second one is agreement to compensate for past voluntary services. According to the section 25 subsection 2, students, now in this agreement, a promise to pay for a past voluntary service is binding for the party who is making promise. This is an exception to the principle that past consideration is no consideration. But following points should be noted, should be clear. Number one, the service should have been rendered voluntarily for the promiser. The second one is the promiser must be in existence at the time the service was rendered. The third one is the intention of the promiser should be to compensate the promisee. Fourth one, the service rendered must also be legal. Example, A saves B from drowning in the river, and later B promises to pay rupees 10,000 to A. There is a contract. Student, B's promise here was in connection with the past services which A already has rendered. So this promise of B to compensate A for the past services is binding on B. The third one is agreement to pay a time-barred debt regarding section 25 subsection 3. According to Limitation Act 1908, if creditor does not sue debtor within limitation period, which is 3 years, the debt becomes time-barred debt. Agreement to pay time-barred debt is enforceable if following conditions are fulfilled. Now, after the time-barred debt, the debtor, if promises to pay that time-barred debt, is enforceable if following conditions are fulfilled. Number 1, the debt must be time-barred. Promiser himself must be liable for the debt. There must be an express promise to pay time-barred debt. Fourth one is the promise must be in writing and signed by the debtor or his agent. To support that point, here comes the example. A owes B rupees 1,000, but the debt is barred by the Limitation Act. A signs a written promise to pay rupees 1,000 on account of death. This is a contract between A and B, and this one is enforceable even without consideration. The next one is agreement to give something as gift according to section 25 and subsection 1 of Contract Act 1872. A gift does not require consideration in order to be valid. Following points are necessary. The first one is there need not be natural love and affection between donor and donee. Gift must be complete. Gift is complete when possession is made over to the donee. So when someone gives gift to the other, that gift must be complete, and there need not to be natural love and affection between the donor and donee. So that agreement regarding gift is valid even without consideration. Here comes the example. A gifted a watch to B on his birthday. Later on, A cannot demand his watch back on the ground that there was no consideration for him. Fifth exception, students, agreement to act as agent according to section 185. No consideration is necessary to create an agency. The consent of principal to be represented by the agent is sufficient to agency. No consideration is immediately necessary at the time of appointment. A gratuitous agent is not bound to do work entrusted to him. Mind it, a gratuitous agent is not bound to do work entrusted to him. Once he begins work, he is bound to complete it. Example, A promised to sell B's house on his behalf. An agreement between A and B is valid even without consideration. So law is very much clear here. Agreement to act as agent even without consideration is valid. Last and final exception, that is agreement to remit by the promisee, section 63. Where a person is agree to receive less than what is due is known remission. If creditor agree to give up a part of his claim, there is no need of consideration for such an agreement. Second point, similarly, an agreement to extend time for performance of a contract need not to be supported by consideration. So students, agreement to remit by the promisee once again need not to be supported by consideration. Example, A owes B 5,000 rupees. A pays rupees 2,000 to B and B accepts it in full satisfaction of the whole debt. The whole debt is discharged. So students, this is all about the exceptions to the rule of consideration. You will get more information regarding the coming chapters and coming topics in the coming videos. Goodbye.